The sky burned red over Seoul as the alien ships broke through the clouds. Dr. Sung-ho Kim watched from the window of his lab, his hands shaking as he saved his research files. 3 days had passed since the first Dominion ships appeared in orbit. 3 days of watching humanity's best weapons fail. "Dr. Kim, we need to leave now," said his assistant, her voice cracking with fear. Sung-ho did not move. On the street below, people ran in panic. The military had told everyone to stay calm, but that was before the Jackals came. The first Jackal Sung-ho saw jumped from the roof of a nearby building. It looked like a large dog, but wrong in every way. Its skin was hairless and gray. Its mouth opened too wide, showing rows of teeth that no Earth animal had. It moved too fast, taking down 3 running people in seconds. "The data," Sung-ho said, his eyes fixed on the small drive copying his life's work. "We can't leave without the neural interface research." The building shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. The backup was at 98%. His assistant grabbed his arm. "They're in the building." A howl echoed through the halls, not like any dog or wolf, but something that knew it would feed soon. The howl was answered by others. The jackals were hunting in packs. 99%. The door to the lab burst open. Dr. Park, the head of biology, fell through. His white coat was red with blood. "Run," he gasped before a large shape landed on his back. The jackal looked up at Sung-ho, its 6 eyes blinking in different patterns. Its mouth opened in what almost looked like a smile. 100%. Complete. Sung-ho grabbed the drive and ran for the emergency exit, pulling his assistant with him. They pushed through the door as the jackal leaped. The heavy metal door slammed shut, but dents appeared as the creature hit it from the other side. "This way," Sung-ho said, leading them down the stairs. "The parking garage has military transport waiting." They ran down 8 flights of stairs, hearing the sounds of screams and howls above them. When they reached the garage level, Sung-ho saw the transport truck, its engine running. A soldier waved them over. "Hurry, you're the last ones." As they ran to the truck, Sung-ho looked up. Through the open garage entrance, he could see the city burning. A massive Dominion ship hung in the air above the tallest buildings. Smaller ships moved around it like insects around a queen. From these ships came more jackals, dropping to the streets to hunt. The soldier pulled them into the truck. Inside, 10 other scientists sat with their research. Some cried quietly. Others stared with empty eyes. "Is that it?" the soldier asked Sung-ho, pointing at the drive in his hand. Sung-ho nodded. "My neural interface technology. It lets humans connect their minds with machines." "Or animals," his assistant added. The soldier closed the door and banged on the wall. The truck started moving, climbing up the ramp and into the chaos of the streets. As they drove through the burning city, Sung-ho saw the true scale of the attack. Buildings fell. People ran. And everywhere, the jackals hunted. "Where are we going?" someone asked. "Busan," the soldier said. "Underground facility. Last hope." Sung-ho looked down at the small drive in his hand. His work had been meant to help people with brain injuries control robotic limbs. Now it might be used for something very different. The truck swerved to avoid a crashed car. Through the window, Sung-ho saw a pack of jackals turn to watch the truck pass. For a moment, he thought they would chase, but they went back to their hunt. "Why are they doing this?" his assistant whispered. Sung-ho had no answer. But as he watched the jackals move with terrible purpose, a thought formed in his mind. If humans couldn't beat the aliens with tanks and guns, perhaps they could beat them with their own weapons. He clutched the drive tighter. Humanity was falling, but it wasn't defeated yet. 6 months passed since Seoul fell. The world changed. The Dominion controlled the surface. Humans hid underground. Sung-ho worked in a small lab deep beneath Busan. The concrete walls were bare except for maps and notes. His eyes burned from looking at screens all day. He had not seen the sun in months. The door slid open. Captain Jai-yun Lee walked in with her usual stiff back and tired eyes. Once she had led a tank unit. Now she led what remained of the Korean military in this underground base. The Jackals found another entrance, she said. We lost 3 people. Sung-ho rubbed his face. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't help. Jae-yun pointed at his computer. What helps is progress. How is the neural link coming? Before Sung-ho could answer, Do-hyun entered the room. The young engineer carried a box of parts from old machines. His hands were black with oil. I got the transmitters working, Do-hyun said. They should be strong enough to keep a signal through 50 meters of rock. Jae-yun nodded. And the interface. Sung-ho turned his screen so they could see. On it was a model of a human brain beside what they had learned about jackal brains. The problem isn't connecting, he said. The problem is control. Their minds are too different from ours. To link with a jackal, a human would need to think more like them. So make it happen, Jae-yun said. It's not that simple. I would need to change how the human brain works. Suppress some parts, enhance others. What parts would be suppressed? Do-hyun asked. Sung-ho looked down. The parts that make us human. Empathy, mercy, self-control. The room went quiet. Jae-yun walked to the wall where pictures of dead Dominion soldiers hung. The few they had managed to kill. Do you know what I see when I close my eyes? She asked. My family. My husband and son running while jackals chased them. I couldn't reach them in time. She turned back to face them. I don't care about being human anymore. I care about beating them. Sung-ho stood up. Even if it means becoming like them. The person who controls a jackal will start to think like a jackal. Act like one. They might not come back from that. We're not coming back from this anyway, Jae-yun said, waving at their underground home. This isn't living. Do-hyun stepped between them. I have an idea. He opened his box and pulled out what looked like a collar with wires sticking out. If we can capture a jackal, we can use this to help control it. Like a shock collar, but connected to the neural link. Capture a jackal. Sung-ho laughed without joy. They hunt in packs. They're smarter than wolves and faster than tigers. Jae-yun smiled for the first time. Not when they sleep. We've been watching them. They have a den 2 kilometers from here. At dawn, they're tired from hunting. It's suicide, Sung-ho said. It's war, Jae-yun replied. And we're losing. Do-hyun put his invention back in the box. I can have 5 collars ready by tomorrow. But we'll need volunteers for the neural link tests. I already have them, Jae-yun said. People with nothing left to lose. As they talked, an alarm sounded. 3 short rings. Someone had returned from the surface. They went to the main hall where a team of scouts had just arrived. With them was a cage covered by a tarp. Something inside growled. We got lucky, said the lead scout. Found this one alone. Injured. Jae-yun pulled back the tarp. Inside was a jackal, smaller than most, with a wound on its leg. Its 6 eyes blinked at the light. It lunged at the bars, making everyone step back. Looks like we start today, Jae-yun said. Sung-ho watched the creature snarl. Its teeth could bite through metal. Its claws could rip open a tank, and he was going to ask someone to connect their mind to it. Who's first? Do-hyun asked. His name is Ta-won, Jae-yun said. He's waiting in the medical bay. Sung-ho took a deep breath. Then let's begin. But remember, whatever we become after this, it wasn't the Dominion that changed us. It was our choice. Jae-yun put her hand on his shoulder. Sometimes the only choices left are bad ones, but at least they're still our choices. Together, they walked toward the medical bay, the growls of the jackal following them down the corridor. Ta-won sat on the edge of the medical bed. His face showed no fear, only emptiness. He had been a soldier before the invasion. Now, at 26, he looked much older. His family was gone. His home was gone. All he had left was anger. The procedure will hurt, Sung-ho explained as he prepared the neural equipment. We will need to change parts of your brain to match the Jackal's thought patterns. Taiwan nodded. Pain doesn't matter anymore. Jai-yun stood nearby, arms crossed. You can still back out. And do what? Taiwan asked. Hide underground until we die. No, let me be useful. Do-hyun came in, pushing a cart with the captured jackal. The creature was sedated but still dangerous. Its cage was reinforced steel. Even sleeping, it looked deadly. The neural link is ready, Do-hyun said. He held up the collar device. This goes on the jackal. These sensors go on Taiwan. Sung-ho placed a cap with wires on Taiwan's head, each wire connected to a part of his brain. The most important connected to his frontal lobe, the part that controlled human emotions and decision-making. When we start, your brain will begin to change, Sung-ho said. You may feel different afterward. Less human. Less human might be good, Taiwan said. Being human didn't help us against them. Do-hyun carefully opened a small door in the cage and placed the collar on the jackal. It stirred but didn't wake. The collar beeped as it activated. Ready? Sung-ho asked. Taiwan lay back on the bed. Do it. Sung-ho started the process. The machine hummed. Taiwan's body went stiff. His eyes opened wide, staring at nothing. Beside him, the jackal began to twitch. Brain activity is changing, Sung-ho said, watching the monitors. His frontal lobe is shutting down. Amygdala is growing more active. Is that bad? Jae-yun asked. It means his emotional control is weakening. His fear and aggression centers are taking over, like an animal. The minutes passed slowly. Taiwan's breathing became faster. His fingers curled like claws. Blood dripped from his nose. Should we stop? Do-hyun asked, worried. No, Jae-yun said firmly. Keep going. Suddenly, Taiwan screamed. It started as a human sound, but ended as something else, something like a howl. At the same moment, the jackal woke up. Its 6 eyes opened all at once. Connection established, Sung-ho said. Taiwan, can you hear me? Taiwan turned his head. His eyes looked different. The pupils were wider. When he spoke, his voice was rough. Yes, but I see, strangely, many eyes. You're seeing through the jackal's eyes too, Sung-ho explained. Can you feel it? Control it? Taiwan was quiet for a moment. Then the jackal in the cage stood up. It moved slowly, tilting its head exactly as Taiwan tilted his. I can feel its strength, Taiwan said with wonder. Its speed, its hunger. Can you make it walk? Jae-yun asked. The jackal took a step forward in its cage. Then another. It moved without its usual aggression, more like it was exploring. Amazing, Do-hyun whispered. Try something more complex, Sung-ho suggested. Taiwan sat up. At the same time, the jackal sat on its haunches. When Taiwan raised his right hand, the jackal raised its right paw. It works, Jae-yun said, smiling for the first time in months. We can control them. But Sung-ho noticed something concerning. Taiwan was breathing through his mouth now, tongue slightly out, just like the jackal. His movements were becoming less human, more predatory. Taiwan, how do you feel? Sung-ho asked. Strong, he answered. Powerful. I can smell everything, hear everything. He turned to Jae-yun and sniffed the air. I can smell your fear and your hope. Jae-yun stepped closer to the cage. Can you hunt with it? Fight with it? Taiwan's lips pulled back, showing his teeth in what wasn't quite a smile. Yes, we can hunt. We can kill. We? Sung-ho asked quietly. Taiwan looked at him with changed eyes. The jackal and I, we are connected now, not separate. Do-hyun looked worried. Can we break the connection if needed? Yes, Sung-ho said, but I'm not sure Taiwan will be the same afterward. I don't want to be the same, Taiwan said. He stood up and walked to the cage. The jackal moved to the bars, no longer aggressive toward him. I want to hunt. I want to fight back. Jaiyun nodded. Then we need more volunteers. More jackals. We'll build a pack. As they talked, Taiwan placed his hand against the cage. The jackal pressed its snout to his fingers. Predator recognizing predator. This is just the beginning, Jaiyun said. Sung Ho watched Taiwan and wondered how much of the man would remain when the war was over, if they survived at all. 2 weeks after Taiwan's successful bonding, Jaiyun gathered more volunteers. 3 people stood in the medical bay, each with their own reasons to fight. Hajun was a former police officer who had watched his city burn. Minji had been a nurse before the invasion. She had tried to save people until the day jackals broke into her hospital. Jae-woo was just 18, a student who had grown up too fast when the world ended. The process will change you, Sung Ho explained to them. You will not be the same afterward. We haven't been the same since they came, Minji said. The others nodded. Do-hyun had improved the neural equipment. The process would be faster now, less painful. But the changes to the brain would be the same. We've captured 3 more jackals, Jaiyun told them. Each of you will bond with one. Together you will form our first combat unit. Hajun stepped forward first. I'm ready. They performed the bonding one by one. Hajun went rigid when the connection formed, then relaxed with a growl. Minji cried during her bonding, but when she opened her eyes, they were dry and sharp. Jae-woo was the most difficult. His young mind fought the changes, but eventually he too joined with his jackal. Each connection was different. Each person changed in their own way. Something interesting is happening, Sung Ho said as he monitored their brain activity. They're forming a network between themselves. What do you mean? Jaiyun asked. The jackals are pack animals. They communicate with each other. Now our people are part of that communication. In the training room, the 4 bonded humans sat in a circle. No one spoke, but they moved in sync, tilting their heads at the same time, looking at the same things. In their separate cages, their jackals did the same. They're talking without words, Do-hyun said, like the pack mind of the jackals. Taiwan stood up and walked to a wall. He pressed his palm against it, head tilted. We can feel the vibrations, he said. His voice was rougher now, less human. We can track the Dominion troops on the surface. How far? Jaiyun asked. 2 kilometers, Minji answered, though the question wasn't for her. We can sense their movements. The 4 turned to look at Jaiyun with the same expression. It was unsettling. We need to test them in combat, Jaiyun told Sung Ho. See if they can fight together. They're not ready, Sung Ho argued. The mental changes are still happening. We don't know how stable the connections are. Jaiyun pointed at a map on the wall. The Dominion is getting closer to finding this base. We don't have time to be careful. Do-hyun had been working on equipment for the jackals. He showed them body armor that would fit the creatures, with places to attach weapons. The jackals are already deadly, he explained. With these additions, they'll be war machines. Later that day, in a secure room, the 4 pilots were allowed to physically meet their jackals for the first time without cages between them. Guards stood ready with stun guns, but they weren't needed. The jackals approached their bonded humans slowly. There was no aggression, only recognition. Taiwan reached out and placed his hand on his jackal's head. The creature leaned into his touch. They know us, Hajun said. We are part of them now. Jaiyun watched as the humans and jackals began moving together, learning each other's physical presence after sharing minds. It was both amazing and disturbing. Tomorrow we begin combat training, she announced. In 1 week, we attack the nearest Dominion outpost. That night, Sung Ho found the pilots sleeping in a pile on the floor of their quarters, like animals in a den. They had pushed the beds aside. When he entered, they all lifted their heads at once, sniffing the air. What's happening to them? Do-hyun asked when Sung Ho told him. They're adapting, Sung Ho said. becoming more like the Jackals to control them better. The question is, how far will it go? Does it matter? Jai-yun asked from the doorway. If they can fight for us, if they can give us a chance to survive, isn't that worth any price? Sung-ho looked at the brain scans on his computer. The human patterns were fading, being replaced by something new. Not fully human, not fully jackal. Something in between. I hope so, he said quietly, because we can't undo what we've done to them. Outside, the sun set on a world that no longer belonged to humans, but in the underground base, a new kind of warrior was being born, one that might take back what was lost, even if they had to become monsters to do it. Dawn broke over the ruins of what was once a coastal town. The Dominion had built an outpost here, a place where their ships could land to bring more troops. 4 humans and 4 jackals watched from the cover of an old building half a kilometer away. Remember the plan, Jai-yun said over the radio. She was back at the base, watching through cameras on the Jackal's armor. Get in, destroy their communication array, and get out. Taiwan didn't reply with words. He made a soft growling sound that the others understood. They had been training for this moment for 2 weeks. Words were becoming less important to them. The Jackals wore the armor Do-hyun had made. It covered their vital areas, but left their legs free for speed. Each carried weapons attached to their sides that the pilots could trigger through the neural link. Begin, Jai-yun ordered. Taiwan moved first. He connected fully with his jackal, his human body going still as his mind flowed into the beast. The others followed. Their human bodies sat motionless while their consciousness rode inside the jackals. The 4 jackals moved as one, racing across open ground faster than any human could run. They covered the distance to the outpost in seconds. 2 Dominion guards spotted them. They raised their weapons, but they were too slow. Hajum's jackal leaped, its jaws closing around the neck of one guard. Minji's jackal slashed the other with claws that cut through the alien's protective suit. In the command center, Sung-ho watched the camera feeds with a mix of awe and horror. They're so fast, he whispered. That's why we'll win, Jai-yun said, her eyes fixed on the screens. The jackals moved through the outpost like shadows. They killed any Dominion soldiers they found. The aliens had no chance to raise alarms. They had never expected their own weapons to turn against them. Jae-woo's jackal found the communication array first. The others joined him. Together, they planted the bombs Do-hyun had given them, setting the timers with careful movements of their claws. 1 minute to clear the area, Sung-ho reminded them. The jackals turned to leave, but a door opened. A larger group of Dominion soldiers appeared, at least 10 of them. They fired their weapons. Energy blasts hit Taiwan's jackal, burning through part of its armor. Pain flowed through the neural link. In the base, Taiwan's human body jerked and a wound appeared on his side, matching his jackal's injury. The pack attacked together. They moved in perfect harmony, knowing each other's thoughts. 2 more jackals were hit, but they kept fighting. Their rage flowed through the pack mind. Together, they tore through the Dominion soldiers. The bombs, Sung-ho called. 20 seconds. The jackals ran from the outpost, blood dripping from their jaws. They were 100 meters away when the explosion came. The blast lit up the morning sky. The communication array was destroyed. Mission complete, Jai-yun said. Return to base. The jackals ran back across the ruins, faster than they had come. When they reached the old building, the pilots disconnected. Their consciousness returned to their human bodies. Taiwan touched the wound on his side. It wasn't deep, but it was real. The neural link had made the jackal's injury his own. We did it, Minji said. Her voice was rough, unused. When she smiled, her teeth seemed sharper. Back at the base, medical staff treated the pilot's injuries while Do-hyun checked the jackals. The creatures were calmer now, bonded to their humans. The neural connection is growing stronger, Sung-ho told Jai-yun. The physical symptoms are increasing too. What do you mean? She asked. He showed her the latest brain scans. Their brain patterns are changing permanently. And look at this. He pulled up a video of Taiwan eating. He was tearing at his food with his front teeth, not using utensils. They're adapting jackal behaviors even when not connected. Jai Yun watched the video. But they can fight. They can hurt the Dominion. Yes, but at what cost? Taiwan barely speaks anymore. They all prefer to communicate through growls and body language. The pack mentality is taking over. In the common area, the 4 pilots sat close together. They didn't talk. They didn't need to. Their thoughts flowed between them, a silent conversation that no one else could hear. "We need more," Jai Yun said. "More pilots, more jackals. This was just one outpost. We need to take back the whole planet." Sung Ho looked at the pilots. "If we do this, we need to be honest about what we're creating. Not human soldiers. Something else. Something better," Jai Yun said. "Something that can win." That night, news of the victory spread through the underground base. More volunteers came forward, willing to give up their humanity for a chance to fight back. The war had truly begun. 1 month after the first attack, the Jackal squadron had grown. 12 pilots now shared their minds with 12 jackals. They had destroyed 3 Dominion outposts. Hope was spreading through the underground bunkers. But Sung Ho was worried. Each day, the pilots changed more. He watched them through the observation window as they prepared for another mission. The original 4 pilots were the most changed. Taiwan no longer slept in a bed. He curled up on the floor, sometimes twitching as if chasing something in his dreams. Hajun had stopped using utensils to eat. He tore his food with his hands and teeth. Minji barely spoke anymore, using short words and sounds instead. And young Jae-woo moved differently now, always slightly crouched, ready to pounce. "They're becoming more like the jackals every day," Sung Ho said to Do-hyun. "Is that bad?" Do-hyun asked. "They fight better that way." "But what happens when the war ends? If we win, will they be able to live as humans again?" Do-hyun had no answer. He had been busy making more armor and weapons for the growing pack. Each mission was more successful than the last. The Dominion was beginning to fear the jackals they had once used as weapons. Jai Yun entered the observation room. "We have a new volunteer," she said. "His name is Young-soo." A thin man followed her in. He had the hollow look of someone who had lost everything. "I want to fight," he said simply. Sung Ho nodded. "We'll prepare the neural link, but you should know the risks. Not just death. You might not be the same afterward." "I know," Young-soo said. "I've seen the others. I still want to do it." The procedure began as usual. Young-soo was connected to the neural interface. A captured jackal was prepared in the next room. But something went wrong. As the connection formed, Young-soo began to shake, not the normal reaction. His eyes rolled back. Blood poured from his nose and ears. "Shut it down," Sung Ho shouted. Do-hyun tried to stop the process, but it was too late. Young-soo's body went limp. The monitors showed no brain activity. "What happened?" Jai Yun demanded. Sung Ho checked the readings. His brain couldn't handle the change. It was too much too fast. They covered Young-soo's body. It was their first death during the bonding process, but Sung Ho feared it wouldn't be the last. The transformations were becoming more extreme. Later that day, he called a meeting with Jai Yun and the original 4 pilots. It was hard to get them to sit still. They paced around the room, sniffing the air, touching things. "We need to slow down," Sung Ho said. "Today we lost someone. The neural changes are becoming too dangerous." "We can't slow down," Jai Yun argued. "We're finally winning." Taiwan made a growling sound. The other pilots nodded as if he had spoken. "What did he say?" Sung Ho asked. Min Ji translated. Her words were simple and direct. "Pack grows stronger. Some too weak. Natural." "Natural," Sung Ho repeated. "There's nothing natural about this. We're changing humans into something else. Hajun tilted his head. Better, stronger, faster. But are you still human? Sung-ho asked. The four pilots looked at each other. They seemed to share a thought without speaking. Then Jae-woo, who had been quiet for days, spoke in a rough voice. Does it matter? Humans were losing. Now we fight. Now we win. Jae-yun nodded. That's all that matters. Winning. Sung-ho looked at them with sadness. We're becoming the monsters we're fighting. No, Ta-won said suddenly. It seemed to take him effort to form the words. Dominion-made monsters. We choose. Different. That night, Sung-ho couldn't sleep. He reviewed the brain scans of the pilots. The changes were accelerating. Soon, there might be no way back for them. In the pilot's den, as they now called their sleeping area, the 12 bonded humans huddled together for warmth and comfort. Through their shared mental link, they didn't need words. They understood each other completely. Taiwan, as the first and strongest, led the pack. In his dreams, he ran on 4 legs under an open sky. He hunted with his pack. Sometimes he remembered being only human, but those memories seemed distant now. As Ta-won connected with his jackal, he felt the familiar rush of power. The 6 eyes saw everything. The sensitive ears heard every sound. The strong legs could run faster than any human. He looked at his pack, both the human bodies sitting still in the base and the jackals ready to run. They were no longer separate. They were one creature with many forms. The question remained in his fading human thoughts. When the war ended, what would they be? Not human, not jackal. Something new, something that might not have a place in a peaceful world. But first, they had to make sure that peaceful world could exist, and that meant winning the war, no matter what they had to become. If they didn't stop it, the ship would find their underground base. The entire jackal squadron moved through the ruins of the city, 12 humans riding 12 jackals. They had learned to physically ride the beasts now, connecting their minds while staying aware of their own bodies. Jae-woo rode ahead as a scout. His jackal was the fastest. He reached the top of a broken building and looked down at the Dominion ship. It was bigger than any they had attacked before. Many soldiers moved around it, setting up equipment. He sent mental images back to the pack. No words, just pictures and feelings. The others understood perfectly. This would not be an easy fight. Ta-won, as pack leader, made the plan. They would attack from 3 sides. Quick and fierce. Destroy the ship's engines first, then the weapons. Kill the soldiers before they could call for help. Jae-yun watched from the base through the cameras on their armor. Be careful, she said over the radio. There's something different about this ship. The pack didn't respond with words. They were beyond that now. They moved into position, muscles tense, ready to attack. Taiwan gave the signal, a simple thought that flowed through the pack mind. Attack. They burst from hiding, jackals running faster than any normal animal could move. The Dominion soldiers fired their weapons, but the pack was too fast, too coordinated. They moved as one mind in many bodies. The first wave reached the ship. Hajun's group attacked the engines, placing explosives at key points. Min-jae led her jackals against the soldiers, claws and teeth ripping through alien armor. Jae-woo and Ta-won headed for the ship's main door. They needed to get inside, to find the control room. As they fought their way through, something caught Jae-woo's attention. A room off to the side. A feeling pulled him toward it. Continue to the controls, he told Ta-won through the pack mind. I need to check something. Jae-woo entered the room. It was filled with containers. Large, clear boxes with something inside them. He moved closer and froze. Inside each container was a jackal. Not fully grown, but young ones. Hundreds of them. They were connected to machines, with tubes and wires running into their bodies. Jae-woo called to the others through the pack mind. The images flowed from him to the rest of the squadron. In the control room, Taiwan had found computer screens. The Dominion language was strange, but through his Jackal's mind, he could understand some of it. He saw images of a planet, not Earth, another world with two suns, a world where creatures like jackals lived naturally. They weren't made as weapons, Taiwan said aloud. The words felt strange in his mouth after so long communicating only through the pack mind. He kept reading. The Dominion had come to that world long ago. They had taken the native species, changed them, turned them into weapons. The jackals had once been intelligent creatures with their own language and culture. The Dominion had stripped that away, making them into monsters. Jay-Wu joined him in the control room. They did to the jackals what we're doing to ourselves, he said. Taiwan touched the screen. No, we chose this. They didn't. Through their neural link, they could feel something stirring in the jackals' minds. Old memories, buried deep. The jackals had not always been mindless killers. They had been a people, a civilization. The explosives on the engines detonated. The ship shook. We need to leave. Hajun sent through the pack mind. But Taiwan couldn't move. He was connecting more deeply with his jackal than ever before. Not controlling it, but joining with it completely. He felt memories that weren't his, a world with two suns, running with a pack not for hunting, but for joy, building homes, caring for young, a life before the Dominion came. They're like us, he sent to the pack. The Dominion did to them what they're trying to do to us. Enslave us, change us. In the base, Sung Ho watched the camera feeds with growing concern. Something's wrong. They're just standing there. Jai Yun grabbed the radio. Get out now. The ship is going to explode. The pack finally moved, running from the ship as flames spread. But they took something with them. Knowledge. Truth. The jackals had not been created as weapons. They had been a free people once, changed against their will. Back at the base, Taiwan told Sung Ho and Jai Yun what they had discovered. It was hard for him to speak in full sentences now, but he forced himself. Jackals were free, smart, had own world. The Dominion took them, changed them, made them weapons. Sung Ho looked at the brain scans he had taken of both humans and jackals. That would explain some things. I've seen patterns in the jackal brains that didn't make sense for a simple predator, complex areas that seemed suppressed. Can you undo it? Jai Yun asked. Can you wake up their original intelligence? Sung Ho thought for a moment. Maybe. With the neural link, we might be able to reach those suppressed parts of their minds. But it would be dangerous. Taiwan made his decision. Try. With me first. Need to know truth. Later that night, Taiwan lay on the medical bed once more. His jackal was beside him, sedated but still connected through the neural link. Sung Ho had modified the equipment to target different areas of the brain. This will be different, Sung Ho explained. Instead of you controlling the jackal, we're going to try to awaken its suppressed mind, its original self. Taiwan nodded. He wasn't afraid. After all they had been through, after all they had become, this seemed like the next step in their strange journey. The process began. Pain flooded through Taiwan as the connection deepened beyond anything they had tried before. But something else came with the pain. Images, thoughts, a voice that wasn't his own. A name. Quan. Taiwan whispered. Its name is Quan. The days after discovering the truth about the jackals were filled with new work. Sung Ho spent hours modifying the neural equipment. Jai Yun gathered more information from other Dominion ships they raided. Du Hyun created new gear for the expanding squadron. Taiwan and his jackal, now known as Quan, were different after the deep connection. They moved as one being, seamlessly shifting between human and jackal thoughts. Sometimes Taiwan spoke with words that weren't his own, sharing memories of a world with two suns. Quan says there are thousands more jackals on the main Dominion ship, Taiwan told the others. In sleep chambers, waiting to be used. If we could free them, Connect with them like we have with these 12. We might have enough strength to fight the main ship, Jai-yun said. Sung-ho looked worried. The deeper connection with Quan nearly killed Taiwan. We need to be careful. We don't have time to be careful, Jai-yun argued. The Dominion is bringing more ships. They know something is fighting back. They'll find our base soon. The pilots and their jackals sat in a circle, communicating through their shared mind. Humans and beasts now understood each other in ways no one had thought possible. The jackals were remembering their past, their original nature before the Dominion changed them. Sung-ho called Jai-yun to his lab. Look at this, he said, showing her new brain scans. The human pilots and the jackals are evolving together, creating a new shared mind. Is that bad? Jai-yun asked. It's unknown. They're becoming something new. Not fully human, not fully jackal. But can they fight? Can they win? Sung-ho nodded. Better than before. But winning might not look like what we expected. Min-ji entered the lab, her movements fluid, halfway between human and animal. We have plan, she said simply. The plan was dangerous. The Jackal Squadron would attack the main Dominion ship, the massive vessel that orbited Earth like a small moon. They would find the sleeping jackals and awaken them, hoping to turn them against their masters. How will you get to orbit? Do-hyun asked. The Dominion has smaller ships they use to travel between the big ship and Earth, Ho-jun explained. His speech was clearer now, as if the awakened intelligence of his jackal was helping him remember his humanity. We can capture one. Sung-ho performed the deep connection procedure on the rest of the pilots and their jackals. It was painful and dangerous, but all of them survived. Each jackal remembered its original name, its original self. Each shared its knowledge with its human partner. They aren't separate anymore, Sung-ho told Jai-yun as they watched the squadron prepare for battle. The humans aren't controlling the jackals. They're truly joined. Two minds becoming one. Is that what we wanted? Jai-yun asked. It's what we needed, Sung-ho replied. The only way to fight the Dominion is to become something they don't understand. The night before the final mission, Taiwan spoke to Sung-ho alone. His words came slowly as if he was translating from another language. If we succeed, we will be different. Not human anymore. Not what we were. I know, Sung-ho said. Do you regret it? Taiwan was quiet for a moment. No, humans were dying. Jackals were slaves. Together, we are free. Together, we can fight. And after, if you win, what then? New beginning. For all. The next day, the squadron captured a Dominion transport ship. They killed the alien crew and figured out how to fly it. Through their Jackals' memories, they understood Dominion technology better now. The journey to the main ship took only hours. They approached from the dark side, hiding their small vessel among supply ships. When they reached the massive ship, they found a way in through a cargo door. Inside, the squadron moved through the corridors, killing any Dominion soldiers they met. Their goal was the central chamber where thousands of jackals were kept in sleep chambers. Jae-woo found it first. A huge room with rows of clear containers. In each one, a jackal floated in liquid, asleep but alive. How do we wake them? Jai-yun asked over the radio from the base. Min-ji's jackal approached a control panel. Through their shared mind, Min-ji understood what to do. She activated the awakening process. Alarms sounded. The Dominion knew they were there now. Soldiers would be coming. We need to hold them off until the jackals wake up, Taiwan told the others through the pack mind. Form a defensive circle. The squadron positioned themselves around the chamber, ready to fight. The first wave of Dominion soldiers arrived, firing energy weapons. The battle was fierce. 2 of the newer pilots fell, their jackals dying with them. The awakening process was slow, too slow. The squadron was being pushed back, overwhelmed by the number of soldiers. Then the first sleep chamber opened. A jackal stepped out, disoriented but alive. Then another, and another. Connect with them. Taiwan sent to the pack. Share what we know. The pack mind expanded, reaching out to the awakening jackals. It was hard at first. These jackals had been asleep for years, their minds suppressed even more than the ones on Earth. But slowly they began to understand. Images flowed through the shared mind. The Dominion destroying the jackal homeworld, taking survivors as weapons. The humans fighting back. The new alliance forming between species. One by one, the awakened jackals joined the fight. They had no human partners, no neural technology connecting them, but they had their awakened memories and their rage against their captors. The tide of battle turned. Hundreds of jackals fought alongside the squadron. The Dominion soldiers fell back, not understanding how their weapons had turned against them. In the center of the chaos, Taiwan and Quan fought together, two bodies with one mind. They were heading for the ship's bridge. It was time to end this war. The path to the bridge of the Dominion mothership was a battlefield. Taiwan and Quan moved as one, fighting through waves of alien soldiers. Behind them, the rest of the squadron and the newly awakened jackals pushed forward, their shared mind growing stronger with each passing minute. Minji and her jackal found the ship's weapon controls and disabled them. Ajum led a group to the engine room to make sure the Dominion couldn't escape. Jiawu, the youngest of them, protected the newly awakened jackals as they regained their strength. On Earth, Sung Ho and Jia Yun watched through the squadron's cameras. The base was filled with people watching the feeds, holding their breath, hoping. They're actually doing it, Jia Yun whispered. They might win. Sung Ho nodded, but his eyes were sad. Yes, but at what cost? On the mothership, Taiwan and Quan reached the main doors to the bridge. They were massive, made of metal no Earth weapon could break. But they didn't need Earth weapons anymore. Together, they placed explosives at key points, just as Du Hyun had taught them. The doors blew open. Inside, the Dominion command crew turned in shock. At the center stood their leader, taller than the others, with a crown-like growth on its head. Taiwan stepped forward, Quan at his side. Through the pack mind, he sent out one word to all the jackals and human pilots. Now. A mental wave hit the bridge crew. The combined force of hundreds of minds, human and jackal, focused on one goal. The Dominion aliens fell to their knees, overwhelmed by the psychic attack. Only their leader remained standing. How? The Dominion leader asked in its strange language. But through Quan, Taiwan understood. We joined. Taiwan answered simply. We became stronger together. You took the jackals to make them weapons. We joined with them to make them friends. The Dominion leader looked at the human and jackal standing side by side. For the first time, there was fear in its many eyes. You don't understand, the leader said. We had no choice. Our world was dying. We needed new places to live. Images flowed from the leader's mind into the pack mind. A dying planet, poisoned air, millions of Dominion dying, desperate plans to find new worlds. Taiwan shared these images with the others. They're refugees, he told them. They came here because they had nowhere else to go. That doesn't excuse what they did. Minji sent back. They tried to wipe us out. They enslaved the jackals. The pack mind buzzed with anger, with the desire for revenge. The Dominion leader sensed it and tensed, ready for the final attack. But then Jae-woo stepped onto the bridge. The youngest, the one who had changed the most. He approached the Dominion leader slowly. There is another way, he said both aloud and through the pack mind. We have 3 worlds now. Earth, the Jackal homeworld, if it still exists, and the Dominion world, dying but perhaps not dead. What are you suggesting? The Dominion leader asked. Peace, Jae-woo said, but on our terms. You free all jackals. You help us rebuild Earth. We help you find a way to save your world or find another that isn't already taken. The pack mind was quiet. This wasn't the ending they had expected. Not a final battle, but a possible peace.